I am super excited for Pokemon Legends Arceus. I mean, it's going to be here in only 2 weeks. I can't wait to go and explore the Hisui region. I mean, I have my hat, I have my scarf, I'm ready to go. But I guess I need some Pokemon now. Well, here's a list of all the ones that are probably going to be in the game. Hello everybody, Blaine here for Bridge4 Games. So yeah, I am so excited for Pokemon Legends Arceus. I mean, it's going to be here in just about 2 weeks. I can't believe we're getting it so soon after BDSP, because it really just feels like those games just came out, because in a lot of ways they really just did. And I am so excited to finally go into this new region. We're kind of getting a different, look at an existing region, and it's a really cool idea and really cool direction for Pokemon to go in. Now, I know a lot of people are kind of doubting this game because it's not a full series, like main series game, but again, it really does feel like one, because just like a main series game, there are a ton of Pokemon to collect, and there's also a complete and intact Pokedex within the games that we are going to be tasked with completing. Now, I'm really excited to see that because, again, even though we complete Pokedexes all the time in these games, it is quite a bit different than the normal Sinnoh region because there are new Pokemon in it, and there's different Pokemon there, which really helps to kind of give the region its own identity. And finally, thank you to a lot of, very intrepid, rumor people and leakers online. We have an almost complete and 100% intact Pokedex for the Hisui region, and we are going to go ahead and show all of that today, talk about all the Pokemon, and kind of talk about what Pokemon you could use on teams, and just talk about what's going to be like to get all these Pokemon in Pokemon Legends Arceus. Now, one thing I do want to stress is that there are some rumors that have gone into actually creating this, so, there is a slight degree of error when it does come to actually what Pokemon are going to be in the games, but again, based on what we have, all of this has come from very trusted sources, so I would imagine this Pokedex is very, very close to being very similar to what is actually going to be in the actual games. So do keep in mind, all the Pokemon we're going to show you are going to be pretty accurate for what are going to be in the actual games, but again, there is a slight degree of error. So that being said, we're going to go ahead and just dive right in, take a look at what we have, and just see what's waiting for us. But before I do, I just want to take a second to ask that if you like the videos we have here on the channel, please make sure that you actually like them by hitting the thumbs up button, and of course consider subscribing to the channel to become part of our amazing Pokemon community to make sure that you never miss any of the awesome videos like this one. Alright, that being said guys, let's take a look at the Pokedex. So, here it is. I know there's a lot of Pokemon, don't panic, we're going to get through this together. So, first things first here, we have our new starters. Obviously we have starters in every region. And in Pokemon Legends Arceus, we have Rowlet, we have Cyndaquil, and we have Oshawott. Alright, so let's start by talking about the base and middle forms for all three here. So, they're going to be pretty much the same as we've seen in the previous regions. Obviously we have Rowlet turning into Dartrix, they're still going to be grass and flying. We have Cyndaquil turning into Quillava, which are both going to be pure fire. And obviously we have Oshawott turning into Dewott, which are both going to be pure water. However, if the leaks and rumors we have so far are true, then all three of the starters are going to have different evolutions for their final stage in Pokemon Legends Arceus. So, Rowlet is going to become Hisui and Decidueye, which is going to be grass and fighting. I don't know why they have it on the chart the way they do here. It almost looks like grass and dark, which is not a rumor that's been going around, because we can see down, if we look, spoiler, look down at Riolu, we can see what fighting would look like, and that's not what we see here for the Decidueye slot. So again, I don't know why they have this. Some of the colors are a little off here, but again, all the Pokemon should be correct, so just kind of keep that in mind. But in any event, it should be, a fighting grass Decidueye, which I think is really cool. It kind of is a little bit of a poking fun at, the firefighting, tropes that we had from Gen 3 to 5. But again, still really cool to see. From there we go into our Ghost and Fire Typhlosion, which I really, really like. It's really cool typing. I like Chandelure a lot, so I'm really excited to see that. I also like Alolan Marowak. And if the spoilers are to be believed from what we've seen so far, I cannot wait to get my hands on this thing. That being said, we are going from there into a Water and Dark type Samurott, which is going to be really, really cool. Obviously, it kind of fits the theme, a samurai for the region. That'd be really, really cool. But, obviously, that is our starters. Again, none of that, currently is confirmed. But again, it is a very long-standing rumor that many people are believing to be fact at this point. So again, just kind of keep it in mind that we may get new ones, but don't be surprised if for some reason or other we have the normal forms. So from there we go into our Raichu line. Obviously Pikachu is pretty much going to be in every game because everybody loves Pikachu, but we have Pichu, Pikachu, and Raichu. We have confirmation it's normal Raichu. There is something we're going to talk about at the end about different kind of regional forms outside of Hisui. But we did see normal Raichu in the most recent trailer, very featured, very prominently, so we know we're going to have that version in the games. From there we go into the Clefairy line, and we have Clefairy and Clefable. As of yet, Cleffa has not been confirmed in the games. It is just very likely that it's going to be there, so because we have all the other baby Pokemon, so why would they leave that one out? I mean, unless everybody hates Cleffa. So from there, we go into Vulpix and Ninetales. Again, most likely we're dealing with the Kanto versions here, but again, something we're going to touch on at the end that may be a little bit different there, so just kind of keep that in mind. We know we've seen Crobat. We've seen one of the Alpha Crobats, so we have Zubat, Golbat, and Crobat. From there, we have a blank couple spaces here, so we don't really know what that is, and that's just kind of how it is. You know, it's the nature of dealing with leaks, but we do have it narrowed down to being either the Venonat and Venomoth line, the Diglett and Dugtrio line, the Meowth Persian or Mankey Primeape, or Paris and Parasect line. So again, not too bad there. That's pretty reasonable. You know, we have it narrowed down. That's the important thing here. We know it may be any of these. Honestly, I'd be fine with all of these. They kind of fit in their own ways. I probably would like Parasect the most just because it's a really good shiny hunter. We know shinies are in the game. They're even overworld shinies, and, you know, having the extra little bit of help would probably be really cool. And from there, we go into Psyduck and Golduck. And then from there, we go into our first confirmed Hisuian form for the region. And that is going to be Growlithe, rocking, no pun intended, a fire and rock type. So it is pretty interesting. It has like a, you know, rocky sort of spike on its head, and its, you know, fur is supposed to be rock-like. I'm not really sure. You know, we have not seen for sure the Arcanine yet. I mean, most likely we are going to be getting a Hisuian Arcanine because it's really the only thing that would make sense. And, you know, we don't really know what that looks like. I imagine it'll probably look like Growlithe, but just a little bit bigger. However, one rumor that has been circulating online is if you've ever been to like a PF Chang's, for example, they have, you know, those giant stone lion statues outside. Those are kind of, you know, traditional Chinese lion statues. And that kind of ties into the right, you know, sort of era and motif that we're looking at here. So if we do get something like that for Arcanine, I think that'd be really cool. I mean, after all, Arcanine is the legendary Pokemon, and those statues look pretty, you know, legendary. The only problem, don't get the sucker wet because it is very weak to water and very weak to ground. Going on from there, we have the Abra and Machop lines. Obviously, both of those are trade evolution lines, and until recently, we didn't know how that would work. However, with the most recent trailer, we do know there is trading in the games because we did see sort of like the Proto GTS that they have in the games, which is really cool. So we do know trade evos are most likely going to be a thing. From there, we have Tentacool, Tentacruel, Geodude, Graveler, Golem, Ponyta, Rapidash. We have seen those in the most recent trailers as well. And then we have, from there, our Magnemite, Magneton, and Magnezone lines. I don't want to spend a ton of time talking about these guys because we do have a lot of Pokemon we have to get through. But again, there may be a strong magnetic field in these games. But again, in Sword and Shield, you could also just evolve it with a Thunderstone. So, I don't know. One of those two is going to work. Try it out. You know, if you really want to get Magnezone, which honestly you should because it's such a dope Pokemon, just try things out, see what works, and you should be fine. Going on from there, we have Ghastly, Haunter, Gengar. Shout out to Tom, his favorite Pokemon. And then we have Steelix and, of course, Onix, you know, Brock's favorite. But from there, we go into our second Hisuian Pokemon that is confirmed, and that is going to be Voltorb. So, Hisuian Voltorb was previewed kind of a while ago, and is a confirmed to be Grass and Electric-type Pokemon. It is basically a, you know, possessed Pokeball based on the Pokeballs of the region, which is a combination of that stuff called Tumblestone and an Apricorn. So, much like how Kurt would craft Pokeballs, you can do that in the game, and Voltorb is a living interpretation of that. So, again, much like Growlithe, we have not seen the Electrode, you know, form. There are some leaks going around online. One of them has, like, a piece of grass sticking out of his teeth, like you would chew on, you know? I gotta be honest, I kind of hope that's not the final form, because I think that would look really, really goofy. But again, well, look, we've seen what Electrode looks like. It's probably going to look like an upside-down Voltorb, but again, some people have said it could be like a heavy ball, could be a great ball, whatever. So I'd like to see kind of any direction that they take it in. I think that'd be really cool. But again, you know, Voltorb and Electrode, really neat. We don't know, you know, we don't know about abilities even being in the game yet. That's still very much up in the air. So again, the competitive viability of some of these mons is going to be kind of probably needing to wait until Gen 9 to figure out if they actually can, you know, do anything. But again, still really cool Pokemon. And then from there, we have Lickitung, Licky Licky. And again, I'm not going to spend a ton of time talking about the Pokemon that we already know kind of what they do, because they're just in there and we've seen them confirmed. So, you know, again, we have to get through a lot of mons here. So then we have Rhyhorn, Rhydon, and Rhyperior. Obviously, we have a baby Pokemon in Happiny with Chansey and then Blissey. We've seen, again, several of these, you know, confirmed. So there we go. Tangelo was in the most recent trailer, Tangrowth was in the most recent trailer, and many people think they saw a Tangrowth in the background. So that knocks off the next two. We've had Mime Jr. confirmed, and Mr. Mime is going to come from there. God help us all. And that brings us to Cleavor. Now, we do know Scyther and Cleavor are going to be in the games, and Cleavor is going to be one of our noble Pokemon. There is a, you know, belief going around that there is going to be Scizor in the game as well. That does fit the chart that we have here put together from Riddler Coup. But again, until recently, we didn't know about the Trade Evo thing, and now that we do, we know there's probably going to be Metal Coats because we have Steelix, and you'll be able to get your Scissor to add that to your team as well. From there, we go into some of the Sinnoh, final forms here. We have Electivire and Magmortar. Obviously, we're going to have Elekid and Magby, as well as Electabuzz and Magmar. From there, we have, of course, Magikarp and Gyarados, and that brings us to our Eevee line. Now, all the Eevees are probably going to be in the game. The one that is kind of up in the air, because we didn't see it in BDSP, is going to be Sylveon. And again, if it doesn't exist in Modern Sinnoh, why would it exist in, like the Feudal Sinnoh? We don't know at the end of the day. I mean, it's all speculation, really. But we do know most of the Eevee forms are going to be in there, and a lot of people are saying that Sylveon is going to be in there. So, honestly, I'm going to say Sylveon is probably in there. I really want to see it in there because I love Sylveon. So, fingers crossed. But again, we know Eevee's in there with a lot of evolutions. We just don't know, as of yet, exactly how many. So, from there, we go into one of the more interesting Pokemon in the region. And that's going to be Porygon, which is one of the more heavily rumored Pokemon as well. So, we have Porygon, Porygon 2, Porygon Z. It's strange because, it is, of course, a man-made cyberspace kind of Pokemon, which is interesting to see in feudal Japan, but again, we have an Arceus cell phone, so who knows? I think anything is possible in this game. Going on from there, we have Munchlax and Snorlax, and then from there we have Togepi, Togetic, and of course Togekiss. And from there we go into some more baby Pokemon, because we have Bonsly and of course Sudowoodo. Apom, Ambipom, God, had to bring you back, didn't they? And then we have Yanma, Yanmega, and then we have Murkrow, Honchkrow. Of course, we have Mr. Vis, Mismagius, and that brings us to Unknown. Now, Unknown is not a Pokemon I want to spend a ton of time talking about because everybody knows its gimmick. It's all the letters, everything is cool that way. But again, we know that from some of the leaks and rumors that Hidden Power is probably going to be getting a buff in this game, and we don't really know in kind of like what form that's going to be, but Unknown really only has Hidden Power. So seeing that, that move may get a buff and make, Unknown even like this much more relevant is pretty awesome in my opinion. And then, obviously also, if you guys don't watch Birdkeeper Toby, I recommend you guys do because he has an awesome Pokemon channel with a lot of theories. But one of his older theories was that Arceus maybe shapes the world using the unknowns to like basically write code. And I think that's a really cool idea because if you guys have never seen the Arceus event from Diamond and Pearl, the original Diamond and Pearl, Arceus basically, when it creates, Dialga or Palkia, it summons a bunch of unknowns to make that happen. And it's really, really cool. So, obviously, if they can do anything to make Unknown better or more interesting, I am all in favor of that. From there, we have Girafarig, and then we have Dunsparce, the most popular Pokemon that has no impact on the game whatsoever. Then we have, of course, Gligar and Gliscor, and then from there, we go into one of the more, heavily rumored Pokemon as well in our Quillfish there. So, Quillfish obviously is a Pokemon from Johto, but in the new games, it is rumored to be Poison and Dark type, which is very interesting because that's a really great typing. And it's also believed to be getting an evolution in this game as well, which will also be Poison Dark. Now, I really want to see that. I mean, obviously, Poison Dark is only weak to ground, which would be awesome. I do think Quillfish, if we do get a new one, obviously for whatever, catching it in the game, getting it for your Pokedex, all that's cool and fine. For it to be really, a Pokemon that really stands out and really shines, it would need to kind of get those abilities working and really kind of get a lot of value there, which I'm sure it will, but again, I kind of am going to hold judgment on how I feel about this Pokemon until I see it and see how it does in battle. From there, we go to Heracross, nothing too much to talk about there. And then we go to Sneasel. Now, there's a lot to talk about here, because Sneasel is rumored to be getting a Hisuian form that is going to be poison and fighting. Now, obviously, Toxicroak is also poison and fighting, and it is a really cool Pokemon, so I'd love if they did that with Sneasel as well. And it's also rumored to be getting a new form or a new regional variant. We don't know if it's going to be a Weavile or something different, the way they did like, regional Persians, and then they went ahead and made Berserker. We don't know how they're going to take this as of yet, but it is believed that whatever the Hisuian form of Sneasel, is going to be, its evolved form is going to be unique to that side of the form as well. But again, we believe we've seen normal Weavile in the games as well, so we don't really know if there's going to be normal Sneasel and normal Weavile, or just, somehow like a split line or something like that. We don't really know at this point. We do know there is some stuff going on involving Sneasel and Weavile. It's also been rumored that the new Hisuian evolution to Sneasel may be a Pokemon that's a ride Pokemon to help you climb up mountains, but again, they're not very big, so I don't know how any of that works. But again, just keep in mind, lots of stuff going on with Sneasel and Weavile, and, if you do like that Pokemon, get hyped, because you have a lot of really cool stuff coming down the road. From there, we have our Teddiursa and Ursaring lines. So from there, we do know that they're most likely going to be getting either a Hisuian form or an evolution that is ground and normal, which I mean, I think is really cool. I like Ursaring a lot. And finally, again, it's a Pokemon they needed to just kind of do something with, and they finally are. And it's believed that it's either going to be a ride Pokemon or one of the Pokemon Nobles. We don't really know what yet in that regard, but again, I'd love to see that. Again, you know, normal ground is a typing we don't see all that often. We have seen it with Diggersby, and Diggersby is really cool. So again, I would like to see that work for Ursaring now as well. From there, we have Mamoswine, and obviously then we have our Remoraid and Octillery lines. Then we have our Mantike and our Mantine lines. And then we go into one of our confirmed ride Pokemon, and that is the evolution of Stantler, which is Weirdeer. I like Weirdeer a lot. I think it's really, really cool. It's obviously going to be our Pokemon that's, you know, the alternative to our bike. It's faster than walking, and it can also jump across, like, you know, if the stones are, you know, on the side of a mountain or something, and there's like a gap in between, it can leap over, which is cool. So I really like that. I'm very happy to see that. Psychic Normal, which is a pretty cool typing. And then, of course, we have our Wormpole, which evolves into Silcoon into Beautifly, or Cascoon into Dustox. And from there, we have some more of our split lines here, where we have our Ralts into Kirlia, then Gardevoir or Gallade. So happy Gallade is in the game. It's an amazing shiny hunting Pokemon. I'm glad we have it. Then we have Nosepass, Probopass. We have Bidoof, Roselia, Roserade. We have Duskull, Dusclops, and Dusknoir. We have Chingling, Chimecho. Then, of course, we have Snorunt into Glalie and Frostlass. We have our Spheal into our Celio, and, of course, our Whaleren. And then we get our normal Sinnoh starters in the game as well, which I am super happy about. We have our Turtwig, our Groudle, and our Torterra. Our Chimchar, our Monferno, our Infernape, our Piplup, our Prinplup, and our Empoleon. All of them are pretty much confirmed to be exactly the same that we had in the original, you know, Sinnoh games, our BDSP games. So I love seeing that. I love all three of those Pokemon. So awesome. And then, of course, from there we have our Starly and Staravia lines, Staraptor. And then we have, of course, Bidoof and Bibarel, because everybody loves them, apparently. And we have Kricketot, Kricketune, because we needed a Pokemon that had a mustache to drive me crazy. And then, of course, we see kind of more of the same stuff. We have our Shinx line, our Luxray line, our Fossils, our Rampardos, and our Bastiodon. And then we have our Wormadam and Mothim lines. And again, you know, Vespiquen, Pachirisu, Floatzel, Buizel, our Cherim, Cherubi, Gastrodon, Drifblim lines. All that stuff is kind of the same as what you would expect, because, again, all of these Pokemon are Sinnoh Pokemon, and we're going to have most of the Sinnoh decks in these games. So really cool to see. And then, of course, we go on from there. We have our Lopunny, our Perugly, we have our Stuntank, our Bronzong, you know, Chatot, Spiritomb. We probably have just normal Garchomp. From there, we have Riolu and Lucario. Obviously, great Pokemon. Everybody loves them. We have Hippowdon and, you know, Hippopotas. And then we have Drapion, Toxicroak, Carnivine, Lumion, Finneon, Abomasnow. And then we go into kind of our last row here, which is where we have kind of our unique, legendary, and some of our new Pokemon. So we have Rotom. It's believed that Rotom has all of its forms in the game, which, again, on the one hand, I've never seen a fridge or a toaster oven or a washing machine in feudal Japan, but again, I've never seen a cell phone there either, and we have them in this game. So who knows? Maybe it'll work. I would also pray Rotom gets new forms, but again, probably not going to happen, but it would be cool. And then, of course, we have our legendaries. So we have Uxie, Mesprit, and Azelf, Dialga, Palkia, Heatran, Regigigas. We have Giratina, Cresselia. All that stuff is basically just copy-pasted from the Sinnoh decks into this game, which honestly is fine. You know, it is what it is. Nothing too unusual there. Pretty straightforward. But what I'm really excited about is we go from there into kind of some of the Pokemon that came after, you know, the Sinnoh games. We are seeing Lilligant, and it's believed that Lilligant is going to be getting a new form in the form of another grass and fighting type. Now, obviously, I think Lilligant's a really cool Pokemon. I'm happy they're doing something with it. Not excited to see it being grass and fighting type. Very weak to a lot of stuff. And, you know, it just kind of... And also, if we're getting the Hisuian, you know, Decidueye that's also grass and fighting, I think that's a bit of a missed opportunity, and they're kind of double-dipping a bit too much there. But it is what it is. We go from there into Basculegion, and that is going to be our water ride Pokemon for the games. Really cool, Water Ghost. It looks really awesome. I can't wait to get it, you know, and, you know, surf around on it and stuff. From there, we have our new Zoroa and Zoroark. We've known this for a while. We have it, you know, it's Ghost Normal type for both. We don't know abilities or anything like that for the games, again. But again, their typing is just so good that, you know, it's probably not going to really matter either way. And then from there, we have our Hisuian Braviary, which is going to be a Psychic and Flying type. And it's really cool that we've had so many mons from Unova, because we also apparently have the Genies in the game. So we have Tornadus, Thundurus, and Landorus. You know, on the one hand, I like that a lot because all of them are competitively amazing, and I like using them a lot in the games. I think it's really cool. I do... design-wise, and lore-wise, I'm not the biggest fan of them, but, you know, they're going to play a role that we're going to talk about momentarily, because from there we go into our Goodra line, and we have our, Goomy and our Sliggoo. So Goomy is, of course, pure Dragon type, and then Sliggoo is most likely going to have the new type as well, and that is going to be Dragon and Steel. Now, we had kind of that, Riddler Coup sort of thing he put out there, where he talked about kind of like a Slug Ring, and he was kind of hinting at, a Steel Dragon type, Goodra there. So Goodra's an amazing Pokemon. I really hope we get to see this design soon because I cannot wait to see what this new version looks like. And of course, the other Pokemon that is believed to be a Pokemon Noble is going to be Avalugg, which is, people are saying it is a Rock and Ice type. I think that's really cool because Avalugg, on the one hand, I think is not a great looking Pokemon to use like in battle. I'm not a big fan of it, but again, if it is a Noble and it's a big Pokemon, you have to, battle, because it's, larger than life, it's angry and attacking you. That sounds really cool because it kind of will blend in the environment a lot and look really cool. It feels very Shadow of the Colossus-esque, which I'm very excited about, so 2 thumbs up for that one. As long as they do make it a Noble, I think that'd be really cool. And then, what we have here is we have apparently a 4th Force of Nature, so we have another Genie. Now, current Smart Money is saying the Genie is going to be Fairy and Flying type. Again, we don't know for sure. It's kind of just what's going around. But if they do bring that in, it would make a lot of sense. Kind of like if you want to have like Regigigas in the game, you bring in the Regis, prior to this game, of course. And, the 3 Regis were kind of an indication that you may get the 4th. So if they're doing the same thing with maybe the, Forces of Nature, you have to catch the 3 in order to get the 4th one. I think that'd be really cool. Kind of a way to make them a little more interesting. Honestly, we don't really need another Force of Nature. They're all so good already. But again, I do like their, aside, I know I said some, gripes about them or whatever, but I do like that they have multiple forms. I think that's cool. So, having a Fairy Flying type, that'd be pretty nice. I'd like to see kind of what they can add on to this line because, again, all of them are so similar that it doesn't feel like there's a lot of room for innovation. So if there is, I'd love to see it. From there, we go into Manaphy and Fion, and then obviously we have Arceus, and we know we are getting Darkrai and Shaman from some of those events that we've seen so far. So that pretty much rounds off the decks here, guys. I mean, we've seen a lot of what we have to offer, and, it's really, I think it's fairly well-rounded and really kind of gives us a lot of options for the game. They really, as far as like the, the notorious, like, the fire Pokemon issue, they really seem to have, not fixed it entirely, but again, we do have now, our new starter, the Cyndaquil line, and then we have, the Growlithe line, as well as the Infernape line, along with, of course, as always, Ponyta and Magmar. So it does look like they have kind of patched up some of those areas, which I'm really happy about. And again, assuming all these, rumors and leaks are real, I'm very excited to just see everything they do with the game and kind of see how all these Pokemon sort of affect the dynamic of what, a playthrough of the games look like. Because we've played through Sinnoh so many times, we know what a lot of the shortcomings feel like. Seeing kind of what the Hisui region has to offer, because it's similar and very different, is definitely something I'm very interested in seeing. Now, that being said, guys, now that we have an idea of what's in the Pokedex, I do want to hop over and talk about a couple rumors real quick that kind of tie into this, because some of the information we have is pretty cool. All right, and then here's the rumor I wanted to talk about. So Riddler Coup posted this one, and he's shown Alolan Vulpix and says, this one's in the game. How many regional forms do you think will show up in the game? I could find no other reason of Vulpix family being chosen, that this line definitely benefited from its association with the Ice-type variant branch. So, I don't know, it doesn't make a lot of sense, because if we look at, in the Pokedex that we showed, it's listed as being a Fire-type here, because they just kind of put the basic one in there. But again, for a lot of the typings we've seen that were Alolan, we're seeing the normal version, right? So we have like Golem, that had an Alolan version, we're seeing the normal one. We're not seeing Galarian Ponyta or Rapidash. We're not seeing Galarian Mr. Mime. Raichu, is the normal one, not the Alolan one. So, I'm not sure. It seems like they're kind of sticking to the base types, at least from what I can see. But again, he's saying it's in there. Now, again, I can see his point because, Vulpix and Ninetales are very, very cool. A lot of people love them. I personally think they're epic. But again, they are, if we do look at the, back to the Pokedex here, they are incorporating elements from sort of, various Asian inspiration Pokemon. So if you look at like, for example, the Arcanine and, Growlithe lions we're going to be getting kind of look like Chinese statues of lions, which is really, really cool. And, tying into that too, Vulpix and Ninetales are actually based on kitsunes, which are like Asian, mystical foxes that can grant wishes and stuff like that. They're tricksters. So I don't see an issue with there being the fire one in there. If they did have the, ice one in there, that could be what he's talking about, because that would be pretty strange, I think. Just kind of given how well the, fire one ties into everything. But again, it wouldn't be too weird. The one thing I think would be kind of a pain, though, we do have a decent amount of ice mons, right? I mean, let's take a look at that real quick, because again, I just want to see ice versus fire, because everybody knows fire is that typing that's always, lacking. People always want, more fire types than Sinnoh. So, I mean, we have Glaceon. It's not good when we're starting there, huh? And then, if we don't have normal Weavile, it says here we do, but again, if for some reason we didn't, that would be one less. So, I mean, actually, looking at this now, we have Abomasnow down here, obviously. But really, from purely a, balancing standpoint, I can kind of see what he's going for, because maybe that's why they would opt to make it an ice type instead of a fire type. And, also to get some fairies in the game, assuming we do still have the typings. So, I don't know. I think it'd be really cool. I'm really hoping that we do get, heck, I want both Vulpix and Ninetales forms because I love them both so much. But again, just something to keep in mind. It does look like mainly we're getting the original, Kanto forms and stuff. But again, we may get some Alolan forms, I guess, sprinkled in. So again, just kind of keep that in mind, and don't plan on using the fire Pokemon for Ninetales until we have that 100% confirmed, because right now it's not. Either way, I think it'd be really, really cool, and we do still have a very good idea of what's going to be in the Pokedex once the games do come out. So there you have it, everybody. That is as far as we have to a complete Pokedex so far for Pokemon Legends Arceus. I am really excited that we have as much as we do so far, and I can't wait to get into the Hisui region and start exploring, because it is going to be just an awesome, awesome time. So that being said, everybody, I hope you enjoyed the video, and most importantly, I hope you found it informative, and you're able to use it to start making some plans for what Pokemon you want to use in Pokemon Legends Arceus. I am going to have a follow-up video to this coming out this week, where I am going to talk about what team I'm going to be using in the games, or at least, what team I'm most likely going to be using in the games, because I am going to be using this Pokedex as a reference. So make sure you give that video a watch as well to kind of get some ideas for what you could do with your teams when the games do come out and you get your hands on them. So that being said, everybody, if you did like the video, please make sure that you absolutely impact that like button in the face, and of course consider subscribing to the channel to become part of our amazing Pokemon community to make sure that you never miss any of the awesome videos like this one. That being said, everybody, I've been Blaine for Bridge4 Games. Thank you so much for stopping by and hanging out with me. Remember that the best Pokemon games are the ones that you love to play, and the proper ways to play them are however you have the most fun. I hope each and every one of you have a happy, epic, awesome, and amazing day, and I will see you in the next video. See you around. Bye-bye.